In 2023, a young striker born in Brooklyn, raised in London, eligible to play for England, Nigeria, or the United States, made a choice. He chose America. When asked why, he said the fans had given him so much motivation, so much support, and the most important thing was to repay that. He's not alone. Half of this US roster could have played for another country. They chose this one, the US. Three countries, three stories, and one question nobody at FIFA wants you to ask. This is PowernomiKs, and this is the World Cup you are not watching. His name is Folarin Balogun. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He was born in New York City, raised in London from childhood, a striker good enough to play for three different national teams: England, where he grew up, Nigeria, his parents' home, or the United States, the country of his birth. In 2023, with the Americans desperately needing a striker, he filed the paperwork to switch his international allegiance to the US. He said, when I committed, I've always said the fans gave me so much motivation, showed me so much support. For me, the most important thing has always been to repay that. Fast forward to June 12, 2026, the World Cup opener, the United States versus Paraguay, Sophie Stadium at Los Angeles, the first World Cup match on US soil in over 3 decades, and Balogun scores twice. The US wins 4-1, the most goals the American men have ever scored in a single World Cup match, and against none other than Paraguay, which is no easy team. Afterward, he called it a dream and said he just wants to keep making the fans proud of the decision that he made. Now, look at the rest of that roster. 13 of the 26 players on the US team are dual nationals. That's half the roster. Players who, by birth or by family, could have worn a different jersey and chose this one anyway. For instance, Ricardo Pepi, Mexican American born in El Paso, Texas, devastated when he was left off the 2022 World Cup squad. Came back with the best season of his career, 19 goals for PSV in the Netherlands. Players with family roots in Ghana, in Germany, in Jamaica, in Mexico, in Haiti. Some of them turned down legitimate chances to play for England or the Netherlands or other countries. And those are very, very strong national teams, and chose the United States instead. This is not just a soccer team. This is a roster that looks like America actually looks. Half of it is made of people who had a choice and chose this. And tomorrow, June 25th, they play their third and final group stage match of a World Cup hosted on their own soil in front of the entire world. Tonight on PowernomiKs, we ask the question nobody in the broadcast booth is asking. The United States is hosting more World Cup matches than any country in history. But does hosting the World Cup actually make America richer, or does it just look like it does? In our first episode, Mexico used this tournament to tell the world it had arrived. Three-time host, a nation projecting confidence onto the world stage. In our second episode, Colombia used to tell the world it survived. A 810 million comeback 32 years after the darkest night in their football history. The United States doesn't need to tell the world it arrived, and it doesn't need to prove it survived anything. The United States is hosting 78 of the 104 matches, more than Mexico and Canada combined, for a sport that, for most of this country's history, has been an afterthought. So, what is this tournament for, if not coming home and not coming back? My name is Dr. René. However, they chose the United States anyway. This roster is the American history, immigration, identity, second chances. That's what this nation has always been about. People choosing to belong to something in a country, deciding whether to let them. And here's the part that matters most. This isn't a weakness in the team, it's the opposite. The same diversity that makes this roster look like an argument about American identity is also why this team has more attacking talent, more positional versatility, and more depth than almost any American World Cup squad in history. Balogun's 2 goals in the opener are Exhibit A, and it's happening at the exact moment immigration is one of the most contested political subjects in this country's public life. We're not here to tell you what to think about that, but we are here to tell you you cannot understand this World Cup in this country and this team without understanding that the team representing the host nation is a living argument about who gets to be an American. And that, on the pitch at least, the answer this team is giving is the more, the stronger. How can you argue with that? Now, here's the part that doesn't make the highlight reel. 2 years ago, the US hosted the Copa America, a dress rehearsal of sorts for this tournament, on home soil with every advantage. They lost to Uruguay, missed the knockout rounds. The head coach was fired shortly after. Christian Pulisic called it an empty feeling. The team talked about needing to refine its identity. This year, the team's pre-tournament campaign was a 90-second film called Never Chase Reality. It was mocked publicly. Here's the question underneath all of that. Can the most commercially powerful sports market on earth field a team that the world's most popular sport actually respects? That tension between America's economic power and its standing in this sport is the political undercurrent of this entire tournament. Now, let's talk about the money. FIFA, working with the World Trade Organization, projects this tournament will generate a global economic output of $80 billion. Of that, $40.9 billion in global GDP impact. The United States is projected to receive 42% of that GDP impact, which is about $17 billion. Labor income globally, $20.8 billion. The US share, 49%, roughly around just over $10 billion. The accommodation and food sector benefits most, then real estate, then wholesale and retail. The New York, New Jersey area alone, host of the final, is projected to gain over $800 million during the tournament. Those are FIFA's numbers. Big numbers, real numbers. But they're not the only numbers. Goldman Sachs, one of the most sophisticated economic research operations in the world looked at the same tournament. Their findings: there's no statistically significant GDP boost for World Cup host countries. Historically, across multiple tournaments, across multiple host nations. So here we have FIFA projecting $17 billion for the United States. In Goldman Sachs, the most sophisticated, or one of the most sophisticated financial companies in the world, saying, well, historically, this doesn't actually move the needle. Both of these are serious analysis. Both are using real data, and they disagree completely. Here is why. FIFA's numbers measures economic activity, money changing hands, tickets bought, hotel rooms booked, jerseys sold, restaurants filled. That activity is real. It happens. People get paid. But Goldman's question is different. They're looking at it from a different angle, and they are asking, is this new money? Or is it money that would have been spent anyway, just moved around? When a World Cup comes to your city, tourists come. But do your regular tourists still come? That's a fair question. Or do some of them stay away, assuming the city will be too crowded, too expensive, too chaotic? Do local residents still go out to eat? Or do some of them stay home, avoiding the crowds, taking their spending out of the local economy for a month? This is called the crowding out effect. And it's the reason why a city can host a massive event, see enormous economic activity, and still show no measurable increase in actual economic growth once everything is added up. The money moves. Whether the country ends up richer is a completely different question. So let's bring this home. Here is what we actually know. FIFA collects its share of the $8.9 billion global tournament revenue. That number is real, and that money leaves the country. The hospitality sector, hotels, restaurants, food service, sees the biggest activity spike. According to FIFA's own analysis, some of that is genuinely new spending from international visitors. Real estate and retail also benefit, particularly in host cities, particularly in the month of the tournament. Construction and infrastructure, much of the spending already happened in the years leading up to 2026, building and upgrading stadiums. And as usual, the American taxpayer bears some of the infrastructure costs. Win or lose, does this pay for itself? Here's the honest answer to our central question. The World Cup absolutely moves money. Billions of dollars in a matter of weeks, changing hands across the country. Whether that money represents America getting richer, or just America's money moving from one pocket to another for a month, is a question that even FIFA's own economists and Goldman Sachs economists cannot agree on. And if the experts can't agree, maybe the honest answer is it depends on who you ask and how they are counting. We started tonight with a young man who had 3 passports and chose one. U.S. passport. Folarin Balogun didn't have to become American. He chose to. And when he scored twice in the opening match of this tournament on American soil in a 4-1 win, the most goals the U.S. men have ever scored in a World Cup match, he said he wanted to make the fans proud of that choice. Look at the roster around him. 13 players, half the team, who could have worn a different jersey